Good morning, comrade. You listen to the HIVLP New Orleans 102.3. This is your weekly Good Morning Comrade. Jeff and Robert here with you. Robert, what's popping, bro?
Let's see. Trying not to crash out. Trying to remember there's still good things in the world, like Path of Exile 2. Early access just dropped. $30. And
Virtual Fighter also.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but PoE is amazing because it's like I'm really looking forward to this weekend sitting down and really getting into the game because it's going to be free to play. Like they have a robust. It's like, it is their business model, and I just want to tie it back into politics. Like their business model, and for people who don't play video games, you're like, this is boring. I'm going to turn it off. No, just listen for a sec. Their business model is the social democracy. It's the Bernie Sanders of video gaming business models, because it's like as a leftist, like I wouldn't even say at this point, like in all things, however you want to take it, I'm no longer even like slightly to the right of Che Guevara. I mean, it's just Che Guevara and we're just standing shoulder to shoulder at this point.
Yellow pals.
But I can, as that kind of mindset to where like burn it all down, give it all to the proletariat. Yes, that's what I want. I want to hear the people sing. But I can live with social democracy. I'd be just fine with that. And when to get this back to video games is this company, Grinding Gear Games, they want money. They want you to spend money, but they don't want to sacrifice their product, the quality of their product, if that means what they have to do to make all the money. So what I mean by that is like, it's $30 in early access. Eventually the game will be completely free to play. That $30, they give you $30 in in-store credit so you can buy like stuff out of the cosmetic shop, and there's nothing in there that will give you power. It's all just like, they even joke about it. They're like skins. They say, the game is pay to win. Like for April Fool's Day for the first game, they said for $5 you can buy a button, and you can buy a win button, and every time you hit it, it like sparkles and glitter and fireworks go off on your screen. It's pay to win. It's like you can win as many times as you want for $5. But and then also, so it's going to be free.
It's a win-win, really. Everybody wins.
Seriously. And I know, like, it makes me feel good. Like, I don't mind giving them money because I know they're not going to screw me like other video game companies or other capitalist companies do. And they even went further. Super smart business decision. As somebody who's like, it's come to this, Jeff. Like, I am personally selling things on the internet. Like, I'm doing drop shipping. Like, trying to make a couple bucks. But it's come to this. So I understand business sense. But what they've done is so smart, because they said, hey, anybody who spent a lifetime in Path of Exile 1 over a certain amount, and it wasn't even that reasonable. I think it was like $100. And that game has been out for 10 years. A decade. If you spent $100 in a decade or something like that, they said, here's the new game. Take it.
Give it to you for free.
They give it to you for free because it's going to be eventually free to everybody. And then why wouldn't they want their whales, the people who already know they're more likely to spend in the cash shop? Why would you want to cut them off from your game? Just bring them in, because whatever you're losing on the front end, you're going to make up on the back end anyway with these people. And I'm like, that's completely reasonable. That's completely fair. Like, I wish the world could operate I wish the world could operate like that, and to steal from, Comrade Sterling, who does video game stuff. It's Comrade Stephanie Sterling. That's her quote. She goes, the problem is not wanting to make money. The problem is when you want all the money. And that's where the problems lie in. So that's the diatribe about video games. But yeah, it just relates to like everything in our lives right now. And I want to spend the majority talking about labor.
Sure. Well, that's a good,
but
right?
because it'll actually make me feel good in a world that's so terrible.
Mhm.
I just okay. So the things, so we already know about, Brian Thompson, UHC. We know. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the idea that I made a TikTok about this and I was so mad. I swear to God, just making angry TikToks is the only thing that's like keeping me holding on.
Mhm.
But the idea that no matter what you think of what allegedly Mr. Luigi did, if you divorce yourself from morality, and I don't mean like as a thought experiment,
From your personal morality too, not the grander morality of anything. Like the thing that people are focusing on with our friend Luigi Mangione is not whether or not it's moral for the health insurance industry to exist in the way that it does. It's focusing on Luigi Mangione is a bad person because he murdered a guy in the street.
right? Or
Yeah.
he's rich, so somehow
Yeah.
it's the Hassan Piker argument. Did you know Hassan lives in four walls?
Socialism.
Did you know he
no
owns a
house.
house?
Yeah.
Okay, who cares? Like, I don't
Socialism
care.
is when no health insurance, when no college, when no
Exactly.
anything good.
Yeah, if you're not literally like living under a bridge,
Mhm.
then you if you participate in capitalism anyway.
Mhm.
But onto that point, and I'll circle back around. I actually them trying to make fun of them, and we'll talk about them in a sec. That's like the apex of my rant
Mhm.
is them coming at us at all these different coming at him at all these different angles, like, oh, he's rich, and he went to this, his family afford they got like the high powered lawyer because they could afford him and all this. That's not the flex that the uniparty and also the media thinks it is, because what it does is it actually makes him allegedly more terrifying. If he did what he did, it makes him scarier, because every time this is what I'm talking about. Every time I said this very loosely, human beings sit around their little covens.
The Hall of Injustice.
Yeah, they sit around at the what's that thing? Bohemian Grove, and every Viking
Martha's
cruise, which
Vineyard.
I've been on Viking cruises. Every
What Obama does at Martha's Vineyard.
Exactly. Every yacht club, every country club, and they look at a clean-cut young man in a Brooks Brothers suit and a Breitling watch. I want them to think that guy could be a class traitor. I want them to be afraid as they cut into that rubber chicken at dinner. I want them terrified. Because I personally sat at those tables, and I've sat at those tables because of like my own family life, to where I didn't come from money, but now I'm married into some money. And so like I already know I'm never going to be accepted. So I go hard. Like wherever I'm at, if it's black tie, I'm wearing like my black tie is a keffiyeh. If like I have my Palestine hoodie on right now, like literally I was on a Viking cruise, like the most expensive cruise line in the world, without, if you're not like, if you don't have your own mega yacht. Yeah, if you don't have your own mega yacht, like that's where you go when you're the 1%. And this Palestine hoodie, I'm surprised it's not grafted to my skin, because I wore it every day, everywhere. I wanted these people to see me. I wanted them, and even some were so nice, because I was like working on a laptop. I was actually doing schoolwork on the cruise, and it's like this woman's like, "Oh, the work of a professor is never done. Look at you. You're working even on your vacation." I'm like, yeah, sure. So it's like some of those people are like crunchy hippies that maybe invested.
We're gonna start calling you Professor Robert around here. The Professor Robert.
Please don't. I don't earn that title, even though I should be graduating from college finally in the summer, which will be nice.
Let's go.
I'll make sure to wear my Palestine stuff when I cross the stage too.
Put a Palestine flag on your cap.
Oh, absolutely. Whoa, 100%. Well, it's gonna say like Luigi did nothing wrong. Free Palestine. Like absolutely. Like, but so with that, like I want them afraid, and to circle all the way back to the beginning about this guy's allegedly theory of change is that, look, when you can't get redress of grievance, your grievances from the government, you can't get redress, and the laws that we have protect these, again, using the word very loosely, human beings, mass murderers, then what else can you do? And the idea that I kind of lost my train of thought, but
Maybe.
I'll catch it back in
all
a
good.
sec. Yeah, so his theory of change is correct. And here's my train of thought: that in our lifetimes, have we ever seen a unification, lock, stock, arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder unification of the Uniparty, both Democrats and Republicans, the mainstream media, and now you've got New York City DA all coming out to circle and protect their own, and they're setting up crisis hotlines because the poor CEOs are scared. It's everything.
That's why they charge Luigi Mangione with terrorism, because
that's the thing. So that he's not going on trial. Mm-hmm. We are on trial. They're not necessary, because if it's just one of him, they can deal with him. They can ship him off to ADX Florence and he can live in a bathroom with no windows for the rest of his life. But they are worried about us, that we're desensitized, we're become class conscious, and they thought that they could build walls higher than we could climb, and they're not there yet. That day will come when they have, the AI to serve them their overpriced rubber chicken dinners is not online yet. So they still need us. So they've got to
I feel like
put the opiates on the man, and they've got to whip us.
I feel like the AI that's going to serve them their rubber chicken dinners is like also a bit of a story that they're selling to themselves, from the perspective of possibly, like, this is how we cut out workers from this equation. This is how we cut out the working class, and we become a class upon ourselves. And like, just at the end of the day, you can't cut out workers from a society. It's just not possible. They think they can do it. They're going to try and do it. But like, if you build a machine, somebody's got to fix that machine. If you have
no, you're right.
There's always going to be people that have to do that thing, and they these people think that they can cut out working people and cut out the working class from it. They've told them that themselves that since the beginning of time, and since the beginning of society. They're not gonna be able to do it. They haven't been able to do it then. And they're not going to be able to do it now. They can make advances. They can make it harder for like workers to adapt, and almost a little bit of that too. The sort of like the threat of AI and the threat of automation is also what is used by the bosses and that ruling class to keep workers in line and say like, oh, we'll just replace, the people that work at, Carl's Jr., McDonald's or whatever with a robot. Why haven't they done it yet?
No, exactly, because it's not online yet. They're working on it, and this goes back into everybody who
are they working on it though, or is it just
no? They're definitely working on it. But here's their conundrum. Here's their conundrum, and it goes back to what we talked about last week, where I made the joke with our guests, talking about I would totally as a
shout out to Forrest. We love Forrest.
Yeah, Forrest, we love him. But as a cis heterosexual man, I would totally be in a long-term relationship with a cyborg, AI, android, whatever you want to call it. But it wouldn't, somebody like weird science wouldn't interest me. I'm talking about like a Data, a 7 of 9 from Star Trek. Also, I'm talking about like that kind of thing. What was the AI from? What was like the sexy AI from Mass Effect? Whatever her name was, that kind of thing. Yeah, and by the time she would be online and be sentient to where I would have an engaging, fulfilling relationship with this, because that would be a person at this point.
So you're Joker. You're Seth Rogen. I mean Seth Green, rather.
Yeah, exactly. She wouldn't. But this android, this synthetic life, wouldn't put up with my foolishness anyway. So how this relates to this is the conundrum that the 1% have right now is that, yeah, they want to get it online. They want to make it so they can totally take us out of the equation to where they don't even have to. We're not even in the same vicinity to serve them anymore. Did you see that yesterday at some business? I don't know what the company was or whatever. It was in Chicago. I posted about it on my personal Facebook. Well, anyway, they had some kind of a business meeting with the owner, and one of the employees just stabbed him right in the ribs.
Oh God.
And it's like, yeah, they don't want to, they know they don't want to be in the same room with us. So they want this like sentient AI online. But the problem with that is if they get that, then now you got Skynet. And you know what? They're not going to put up with you either. They're going to be like, oh, do this for me. Like, no, Dave,
You're the
having,
inefficiency. The people, because if they do have a coldly logical, they would have to build it to be like a system of values that is already like insanely biased towards the ruling class. If it's got any kind of like objective analysis on reality, then it would just eliminate the ruling class, because that's the drain on society.
Yeah, it would just be, no, Dave, I won't let you exploit my labor anymore.
Yeah.
Would you like to play a game? Launch the nukes.
Yeah.
We're not doing this. It'll be freaking I have no mouth and I must scream. Like without the body horror. It'll just you'll just create Allied Master Computer. You'll create AM, who will just be in. So if you're not, exactly what you're saying. So if you don't have these values to where the AI won't be, I can't believe we got on AI, but that won't allow the.
If the AI can learn, it'll learn that. If the AI can learn, it'll learn that the ruling class is the class that is the least.
Exactly. So they'll either have some kind of fail safe to where they can't hurt us, they can't hurt them,
like classic case of AI self-awareness,
or they'll just be Allied Master Computer from I have no mouth and I must scream, which everybody should listen. I wouldn't even say read the short story. Listen to the short story. It's on YouTube. And it's narrated by the author Harlan Ellison. It's the scariest story in science fiction. It's absolutely wonderful. But I guess that WHIV 102.3 New Orleans.
That's us.
But the ray of light for me right now, and I'm gonna let you I'm gonna back off after this and let you have the show, is that the terrorism charge that they're trying to slap on Buddy, that is the poison pill of this whole, because the first thing I heard, I'm like, that's an inappropriate charge.
Yeah,
that's overcharging.
There is a law. If a law exists, that is not within it,
So I mean, and this isn't just my dummy, like, of course I'm biased on this, but I've been like attorneys who, like, they're not political, they don't have a dog in the fight. I've been reading their think pieces, and they're like, that's the biggest gift that the New York DA's office could give his defense attorney, because now you're creating a situation where you're putting space, you're giving the jury an out, because I think they want him to just plead to murder too and then just not go to trial. I don't think they want this trial at all. That's why they're trying to hit him with the terrorism. I don't think it'll stick. I think
they're trying to terrorize him, ironically.
Right. I think it'll be a game of chicken, and then they'll take that charge away before they go to trial. They'll drop that.
Oh, this will be a trial. They don't want to go to trial at all.
That's what I'm saying. They want him to plead out.
This would be a trial of the century sort of deal.
100%. It'll be
OJ all over again.
It'll be way more. OJ won't have nothing on this. It won't have nothing on this. But what they wanted, how this could blow up in their face is they're giving a potential jury, which we already know it's gonna be hard finding 12 people, because you're gonna get smart people like me. You're gonna and I'm saying, if our New York listeners, if you get a jury call for this, 1, remember jury nullification. 2, do not show your power level. Do not give them any more information when you're not on trial. You answer their questions and you give them just the information that's required and nothing else. And you say stuff like, as somebody who's been on a jury trial, who I'll go on a jury trial every day if I have to for a murder. I told our New Orleans DA when he interviewed me, from the jury box to be picked, he asked me about this and that. And I said, look, man, I believe in the rule of law. I said, if you can't prove your case, then they have to walk. But you have all the power of the state of Louisiana, so that shouldn't be hard for you. You should be able to get this done. And he didn't say a word. He nodded his head. And then the defense attorneys, I looked at them, they nodded their head like, yep, that's our guy. That's our guy. Be neutral. Be completely neutral. We had a guy in my whatever they call it when they pick the jurors. He was just like, oh, I can't be on this jury because I'm not going to be involved in sending another black man to Angola. That's the name of the prison here. And I said, I was thinking in my head, I was like, brother, that's exactly why you should be on the jury. I understand we all have jobs and lives and bills. We can't, I was on like a month-long jury trial and got a check for $50. I understand, bro, but there's nothing more important than this.
And honestly, like, I mean, again, like if I was on a jury, and I would say this, and maybe this is not hiding my power level so well, but this is part
Well,
of.
we're not going to be on the jury anyway. So,
but my point is that in the whole point of jury nullification is it's a democratic sort of a democratic check on unjust laws, right? So if they have somebody on the crime of murder 1, he's dead to rights, and this guy is going to get the death penalty, I would say not guilty. Why? Because I don't believe in the death penalty. And the death penalty is wrong, and the death penalty is messed up. And I've told this to people, and they've gotten upset with me. And I'm just sort of like, I'm sorry, man. I'm not gonna send somebody to their death, even if they, according to the laws in the system or whatever, should technically by those terms be, executed by the state. I don't believe people should be executed by the state. So if that came up, and if that question is asked to me, and if this, if I'm on that jury, I'm voting not guilty just by virtue of the penalty that's potentially.
But to my point, and you'll agree, but to my point is what I'm trying to get through the audience.
How you open on a jury, by the way.
No, I'm saying so Jeff, when you hold that view and understand there's no such thing as perjury for a juror. There's no you lied and now you got to face some kind of legal consequences. If you were getting asked, and this isn't happening in New York, but I'm saying in general because there is no death penalty in New York. But if they ask you a question like that, lie. Just say, I agree with the rule of law. That's all you have to say. The rule of law is what it is, and I'll do my duty as a juror. Say nothing else. And
I will do my duty as a juror. That's what you just said.
That's all you need to say, because all it takes is one person like myself to
have a 12 angry men situation.
The 2 times I've been on juries. One was for murder. The second was for a insurance company didn't want to pay out. And
get them.
I know. Get ready to beep this. But both times when they called my number, first thing I thought was, "Gotcha, bitch." Gotcha, bitch. Because I came in there, I didn't overdress. I wore slacks, polo. I looked like a normal middle-aged dude, not a raging ravenous socialist.
You didn't wear your Palestine sweatshirt that day.
Exactly. I looked like a normal New Orleans dude. I didn't tell him I worked for the city. I didn't tell him none of that.
If they ask you, you'd maybe say it.
Well, how are they asking? What do you do for a living? I'm an administrator.
Yeah.
That's it. That they didn't need to know I used to work for the sheriff. They didn't even know I used to be a cop working for the sheriff's department. They don't need to know none of that. I will do my duty as a juror. That's it. And so that's how I really think with this. I don't think that they're going to run with this terrorism charge, but if they do, if I was the defense attorney, that's what I want. I want that because you're giving the jury an out. So they can all sit in a room and say, and this happened to me on a jury trial. The jury trial I was on with the murder, I said, look, we all know they did this, right? And everybody's like, yeah. I'm like, but we all know this case is funky. Like this case is terrible. And they said, yeah. And they said, well, you know what we got to do? That's it. That's all there was to it.
Your duty as a juror. It's your duty.
That's all there was to it. And so that just follow the letter of the law. That's all there is to it. So when they see, just lie if you have to, be completely normal, try to get on that jury and do your duty as a leftist. Because when you say, oh, this man is a terrorist, now you've given the jury a reason to be like, well, he did this, but he's not guilty of the crime that they charged him of. It's terrorism. So if that's how they're going to come at him, he's not guilty of terrorism. No, that's why nobody has ever found innocent in this country. They're only found not guilty.
Because innocence is a affirmative thing.
Yes.
I mean, again, you're guilty. You're assumed innocent until proven guilty, but you are not necessarily innocent. I mean, like, obviously, if they assume that you were innocent, like totally innocent, then there would be no case.
There'd be no case.
There would be no system. It'd be just like, oh, you did. Okay, everybody's always innocent, and that's not. I mean, that's not a justice system. That's just like, that's nothing.
Because the burden of proof has to be on the state, and given my jury,
if the state's going to lock you up, if the state's going to take away your rights, your freedoms, your whatever, they got to prove something. It's not on the person that's accused. It's on the accusor.
And going back to my experience on the jury, like I had it out with the lady in the deliberation room with this one lady, and she said, what did she say? She's like, yeah, it's something about bias. She goes, oh, you're not supposed to, like, that's bias. And I'm like,
everybody's biased.
I'm like, we are supposed to be biased. Yes. I go, we're supposed to be biased towards the defendant.
The judge is not supposed to be biased, and they are anyway too. But the jury is a group of people who are going to have their own biases, and they're going to come to a conclusion. That's just how, when you get a group of people, you expect to have any of them that's not biased. Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, because the judge is going to give you instructions of what you have to do and what you don't have to do. That is not legally binding to you. You as a juror are not on trial. And so when this woman's like, oh, you're being biased, I'm like, we are supposed to be biased towards the defendant. How this is supposed to work by the letter of the law is they're supposed to sit us all down. We're supposed to cross our arms and go, free my man's right now. Free him right now. And then the prosecution's got to be like, here's our evidence. And then we go, well, what about this? And then they go, well, here's this. And I go, damn. Okay, what about this? And they go, no, because this. And I go, dang, they really got him. All right, he guilty then.
Yeah, but
you're supposed to walk in there saying, free my mans.
Yeah.
In a store. If you're not doing that, if you're not walking in there on the side of the defense, you're wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
I just waited for like a half hour. So thank you for not, because I need this. This is like,
I've been playing a lot of Friday's Attorney. My head's in this space right here. I'm not only free my mans. I'm like, let's find the criminal. Let's get him immediately too.
I know that always got me too.
I love those games.
The Japanese legal system, like it is goofy. Like the Japanese legal system's real goofy, but like. So it's the judge. How does it work? The judge decides.
I don't know if it's any got anything to do with the real legal system, but
it does. It does because like the judge. I'm saying this completely wrong. I'm sure the judge decides the verdict, and then the jury decides the penalty. It's like
there's no jury in the game. There's no jury in the game.
There isn't.
Nope.
It's just a judge. Never mind. Then.
It's the judge and the two lawyers in the game.
Oh, all those people that go, whoa, when you object, like those are just that's
just people watching.
All right, cool.
People watching.
But like, yeah, the Japanese legal system is screwy. But like, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know it. Obviously, I just
we're not
got wrong. But it's just funny to me in that game how like Phoenix not only had to like get his man off, he had to also go find the killer. He had to like Perry Mason that. Because that's how Perry Mason would work. Perry Mason would be like, I'm on the case. And I'm not even going to work on your defense. I'm just going to find who actually did it.
It's always one of the witnesses or
it's always somebody in the court.
It's always one of the witnesses or the other attorney. Like that's the only people that could be the criminal.
It's Edgeworth.
Yeah, no, Edgeworth never did it. Edgeworth.
Have you played the Edgeworth games?
I actually just downloaded them.
I don't want to. I don't want to be a prosecutor.
You know what? It's a game, so I'm okay with it. I'm like, you know what? You're not actually locking people up, so you know.
Well, that's the difference between you and me. It's like I'd love every time I play a video game and I want to be like Edgeworth in those games is the prosecutor that you're always up against, but they let you play as him.
He's the
in the sequel. He's a good prosecutor, but like in video games, when you have a choice to play the bad guy, like I always say I want to do it, and I can never do it.
Oh man, I've done so.
I'm way more moral. I'm way more ethical in my video gaming than I am in like real.
I've done so many like renegade runs on Mass Effect, and it's so funny. Like I don't know why, but
does it feel like you're actually making choices that matter? Or?
No, it's just like you're playing around and you're having a good time, and you're doing epic things, like you're just like punting out the reporter, or whatever it is.
I remember the first time we're getting deep in the video game.
By the way, Mass Effect went woke. Mass Effect 5 is actually, according to the Grumses of the world, is like, oh no, we're deleting woke content because we see what's opening to wokes now. It's
brother, I'm after that ending of 3. I'm good. I'm good with all of it. You can have it. But I remember I was playing Baldur's Gate 3, and so I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3 and blah 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 blah. And then I find out there is a whole cutscene. I mean, you can do anything in that game. Like nobody has plot armor. Like the game, it's like playing in a Dungeons and Dragons game to where like they really thought about like almost anything the player could do. And the game pushes back. Well, you can kill Karlach, the red, the red tiefling Dami Mommy that looks like Rhea Ripley.
I don't know why you would,
brother. There's a whole cutscene of like, you cut her head off. And I'm like, you did what? I'm like, the game should just like break.
Mhm.
I'm like, this shouldn't even, like, if you make that choice, the game should just uninstall. It should go, nope, here's your money back. Like, because what? Like, how it's like in games where like, yeah, and then I killed the dog. And I'm like, you did what?
Yeah.
Oh, say, huh? Yeah, I can't do it, bro.
One of the things that I like about Undertale, which I don't know if you played that or not.
I know about it enough. I mean, I feel like I played it.
Like the bad ending, like the bad way, like it puts a stamp on your file and basically is like always been like you did the bad ending, and every time you even do the good ending again, you play it again, it reminds you that you did the bad ending that one time.
So cool.
It's hit or miss with your head, you know?
Is it like when you kill, is the bad ending when you kill Sans or whatever?
You kill everybody. That's the whole point.
But you kill Sans, huh? Because Sans is like
boss.
He's like SNK level boss.
He's
like Mr. Karate slash.
Well,
like,
so
it's like
that game. Hold on, UWHI VLP New Orleans 102.3 is going to Comrade. The whole point of, the whole like every fight in that game is like a bullet hell, and so like you just got to navigate your little heart through.
Yeah.
You know, not getting hit by the bad thing, and yeah, like he's the hardest one. And like he's like a super boss essentially.
And he gives you like multiple chances to be like, you don't want to do this.
Yeah,
you don't want to do this. I've watched the fight and I'm like, this is crazy. Yeah. I think at that point though, the little like bad ending thing is almost a badge of honor because like you defeated like the penultimate thing in the game.
Yeah, like
you like defeated death or whatever.
Oh, it's way harder than the easy moral ending.
As it should be.
Mm-hmm. But and it's like also like I've tried doing it the evil ending way, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm not having fun. You know, I'm playing this game, I'm killing like all these like adorable creatures and like all these characters that have backgrounds and whatever. I'm a stop. I'm gonna play something else, or I'm gonna play it a different way. I'll start over.
That's exactly how I play No Man's Sky. Like there's like, oh, if I want some bonus credits or whatever, there's missions you can take. It's like kill 20 animals on the planet, and I'm like, for what? I'm like, for some creds? Nah, I'm not doing murder for virtual credits, bro. We'll figure it out some other type of way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not even eating these things. I'm just harvesting them to turn a profit. I'm like,
for trophies or whatever.
Nah.
So there is big news on the labor front.
I want to hear some good news. Yeah.
So there are, we are recording on Wednesday the 18th. This will come out on Saturday on the 21st. So this will have already happened by now, but it is something that I did want to talk about because people might hear about it on the back end, and I want people to know what's going on. The Teamsters, specifically the ones that are working at Amazon, are launching their largest strike against Amazon in American history. I'm actually reading from a statement from the Teamsters website, teamster.org. Teamsters launched largest strike against Amazon in American history. Workers to strike $2 trillion corporation nationwide on Thursday. Dateline Washington, the Teamsters will launch the largest strike against Amazon in the U.S. history, beginning at 6 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday, which is tomorrow morning, as of recording, December 19th. The nationwide action follows Amazon's repeated refusal to follow the law and bargaining with the thousands of Amazon workers who organized with the Teamsters. So, do you remember the JFK 8 election that happened like 2 years ago?
Yes.
When Amazon when the Amazon workers essentially won their election in New York City, Staten Island, JFK 8. That's been over 2 years since then, and they still don't have a contract. Amazon has been dragging their feet. They've been, pushing it off. Oh, we got to paint the building that day or whatever, to the point where they're not going to negotiate a contract. And the Teamsters have said, y'all are not bargaining in good faith with us, so we're going to go on strike. So just to continue, here's a quote. If your package is delayed during the holidays, you can blame Amazon's insatiable greed. We gave Amazon a clear deadline to come to the table and do right by our members, and they ignored it, said General President Sean M. O'Brien of the Teamsters. Quote, these greedy executives had every chance to show decency and respect for the people who make their obscene profits possible. Instead, they've punished workers to the limit, and now they're paying the price. This strike is on them, which is the exact right framing I've had critiques of some of the political decisions that O'Brien has had in the past. This is spot on. This is exactly right. Workers will join the picket from DBK4 in New York City, DGT8 in Atlanta, DFX4, DAX5, and DX8 in Southern California. I beg your pardon. And then a couple of other shops. But it's also going to be nationwide. I live in Richmond, Virginia. I'm going to be driving around to picket lines tomorrow. Taking pictures and, standing with the folks. There are actually 4 picket lines that are going to be here in Richmond. I'm not exactly sure what's going on in New Orleans, but shout out to Local 270.
Hopefully this is the email I just got. You can't see it because it just new online. It just says now online. A new explanation of benefits is available from United Healthcare.
Oh, cool.
Things are shaking, baby. The wheels, the dice are rolling. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Teamsters local unions are also putting up primary picket lines at hundreds of Amazon fulfillment centers nationwide. That's what I just described. Amazon warehouse workers and drivers without collective bargaining agreements have legal right to honor these picket lines by withholding their labor. Quote, what we're doing here is historic, said Leah Penzler, a warehouse worker at DCK6 in San Francisco. We're fighting against a vicious union-busting campaign, and we're going to win. Amazon is the second largest corporation on the Fortune 500 list, despite being worth more than $2 trillion. The company fails to pay its workers enough to make ends meet. Quote, Amazon is one of the biggest, richest corporations in the world, said Gabriel Izari, a driver at DIL 17 in Skokie, Illinois. They talk a big game about taking care of their workers, but when it comes down to it, Amazon does not respect us and our right to negotiate for better working conditions and wages. We can't even afford to pay our bills. Nearly 10,000 Amazon workers have mobilized the movement and joined the Teamsters. They are fighting for higher wages, better benefits, and safer conditions. So there you go. The Teamsters are going out on strike tomorrow at Amazon. For the people who cannot see me right now, I'm actually wearing I was at the Teamsters Hall right before recording today, and I got this sweet Amazon Teamsters hat, which is pretty sick. If you look on my Twitter at Eminent Prof, you can see it there, or any of the social media. But yeah, man, how you feeling? I mean, workers are standing up, workers are fighting back when it comes down to it,
Pretty awesome. I'm going through, as we speak, I put on my Amazon account right now, and I just want to see if I had any orders in pending or anything in my cart, and I do not.
Yeah.
So we're good to go there. I'm not. The
next 2 days.
I'm not. It's only 2 days. Okay. Well, that's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm willing not to cross the picket line ever again.
Yeah.
I don't care. There's, like I said in the beginning of the show, I'm dabbling now in drop shipping. There's other options for me to get, Chinese stuff. I can get it. I can get it from somewhere else. It's fine. And anybody wants to know how to do that, I'm not trying to promote things. Please, leave them for a message. There are Amazon. Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on any of the social medias. There are other Amazon alternatives. Yeah, you're not going to get it same day, next day, but you don't have to. Amazon is not oxygen, bro. You don't need it. We lived without it before. We can live without it now. It's just buying trash we don't need. So it's fine. And there's nothing wrong with buying things you don't need, but if you have a choice to do it somewhat ethically and more socially responsible than another choice, then just make that choice. It's fine.
Yeah, totally. We got another one too. In addition to what I just mentioned with Amazon, there is also a potential, let's just say it is brewing, nationwide Starbucks worker strike as of, I believe it is either yesterday or the day before, Tuesday or Wednesday. They have authorized a strike. If necessary, the Starbucks workers have been bargaining for a contract for the past, several years. And, they've had hundreds of stores. I think it was something like 500 stores have unions now, and there's still no contract for them either. So they're demanding that Starbucks negotiating good faith actually have a statement from the Starbucks workers as well. 98% vote to strike if necessary. Whatever it takes. Starbucks partners, they call their workers partners, vote overwhelmingly to authorize strike as bargaining enters final stages. Starbucks Workers United Baristas announced Tuesday morning that they have voted overwhelmingly to authorize a strike if necessary to win fair raises, benefits, and staffing, protest unfair labor practices, and resolve outstanding litigation with Starbucks. An overwhelming 98% of union partners vote. 98%. 98% of the workers that voted in this poll voted yes to strike. So, like, I don't know who these 2% are, but they didn't win.
There's always some bootlickers, bro. I say this is I let you in the circle of trust. Like, as a black man, I'm like, whenever I see, it'll line up, but like whenever I see that kind of behavior, from black people, I say, those were the ones. Those were the ones that told us, hey, go get on the boat over there. Hey, we just traded this white guy some yams. Go get on that boat. Yeah. Those are the same ones, bro.
Congratulations, you want a free trip on that boat over there.
Exactly. It'll always be like that. It'll always be like that because they're either just so servile. It's like the sociopaths of this world prey on the people who are servile, prey on that servile 2%. But that, as we've seen by hashtag Luigi Core, that 2% is drying up by the day. Yeah. I've seen our personal friends that we know, little old disabled ladies. You know who I'm talking about. I just don't want to put them out by name. Little old disabled ladies are getting closer and closer to Che. They are getting radical out here. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, good. All these people, good. And I had speaking of that 2%, like I even had it's an old work acquaintance. She posted on, and I'm gonna pat myself on the back and say, like, this is how these situations need to be handled. She posted something on her, her Facebook friends and social media, whatever. She's like, oh, when Trump won, she's like, oh, I'm starting to smell a full buggy of groceries. And I think I talked about on the show, and lower taxes and a full buggy of groceries. And now when Trump's saying like, oh, LOL, JK, I ain't doing nothing about no grocery prices. I'm not nationalizing the farmers, the farm industry or the transportation industry or the retail grocery. I'm not doing any of that. So there's nothing can be done about the prices. I said, I added her on social media in public. And I said, look, this is not an I told you so. This is we will be here to when you're ready to talk about this and when you're ready to organize. Yeah. Because there's no war but class war. I'm not mad at you. The same reason why I can get on this show every week and say, I do not punch down at people with no money and no power. That goes for my enemies as well. If they are workers, then might not be aligned, but there is common ground and there is a bridge to be crossed.
Or at the very least, you're not class enemies.
Yeah, don't blow this whole like FAFO or FOFA, whatever, like mess around and find out. Mm-hmm. It's cool, like cotton candy, sugar rush stuff, but don't be doing this in real life. Don't be out here dogging your family out or your friends or your coworkers when things go wrong for them, because we're gonna need them. Like we're gonna need. It's all. You don't want to
turn them the wrong way when they're down and out too.
Yeah, you know? Even the worst people you can think of on earth. Like look at me. Like I've hit all the. I worked for Citibank. I was a cop. I was in the Marine Corps. Now look at me. I'm out here like defending an alleged killer who killed a mass murderer. So,
which, by the way, is an opportunity to differentiate yourself from the liberals who will be like, oh, look at those people in North Carolina. They got flooded out. Too bad they voted for Trump. We'd help them out.
I hate that.
That's just like demonic behavior. Mm-hmm. And that's a way that you can differentiate yourself and actual people that care about the working class from these freaks, from these demons, from these monsters that don't give a damn about a working person. They just want their version of like the soft road to fascism, as opposed to the one where you get to be epic bacon, Elon Musk or whatever.
Yeah, I did come up.
I don't prefer the epic bacon Elon Musk version sometimes. I mean, it just sounds like more fun.
I did come up with this, on my own, so I'll take credit for it. But it's like in that same, exchange I had with this woman, I said, look, we have to have hard lines, but we also have to have open arms at all times. Yeah. So hard lines to where like this is the red line. These are the things you cannot punch down at poor people. I don't care if they're trans. I don't care how you personally feel about a poor person. Stop punching down at them. An immigrant, whatever you want to say, like, we're not doing that. But I also have open arms to where if anytime you want to be like, yeah, I want to hear what you have to say because things aren't going right for me, absolutely. Come on over. There will always be an open seat for you. And that's not even like the right thing to do. It is like morally the right thing to do so you can sleep at night and not be a garbage human being. Like all these middle-class liberals who are just on social media, just loving that they're not, they've cut their family off or whatever. But it's not just the morally right thing to do. It's also the tactically right thing to do, because what I think of, my favorite philosopher, Sun Tzu, it's you never fully surround your enemy. You always give your enemy an escape route, because if you fully surround them and you make them feel you're in a hopeless situation,
fight harder because
they will fight harder. So you make a lane that they can always get out. They can always retreat. So they're always
a chance to run away, because if they run away, you can rout them.
Well, it's not even about routing them. They might join you. They might join you. They might see your generosity and hospitality and join you. But or they'll run and they'll go back. Corny Disney movie Mulan. How many people does it take to send a message? They'll go back and tell what they saw. It's the same reason why Hamas doesn't shoot down when they totally have the capability to shoot down medevac helicopters, because they don't want IDF war criminals on the ground thinking, oh my God, we can't get out of this. We're fighting to the death right now. And when those IDF goons get medevac, now they get to go back to Tel Aviv and they tell everybody what it's really like in there, instead of just killing them. It's the same philosophy. That's how you should win friends and influence people, I guess.
Let's just get back to the press release.
Labor.
Over 98% of union partners voted in favor of the strike authorization, showing their willingness to do whatever it takes to protest hundreds of still unresolved unfair labor practice charges and win a strong foundational framework for union contracts. Starbucks union partners have not decided when to go on strike. The vote was finalized just as union bargaining delegates are preparing to return to the table Tuesday with Starbucks for the last scheduled foundational framework bargaining session of the season. Quote, "It's time to finalize a foundational framework that includes meaningful investments in baristas to resolve unfair labor practice charges," said Sylvia Baldwin, a Philadelphia barista and bargaining delegate. Starbucks can't get back on track as a company until it finalizes a fair contract that invests in its workers. Right now, I'm making $16.50 an hour. Meanwhile, Brian Nichols' compensation package is worth $57,000 an hour. I guess Brian Nichols is the CEO of Starbucks at this point. The company just announced that I'm only getting a 2.5% raise next year, a 40 cents an hour, which is hardly anything. It's one Starbucks drink per week. Starbucks needs to invest in the baristas who can make Starbucks run. It goes on to sort of just talk about the path forward and things like that. But again, like we mentioned earlier, that strike number 2 happening. We don't know when that one's going to be, but it won't be the first time that Starbucks workers went on strike in this process. They, have in the past gone on actions and strikes at various stores and also nationwide in the past. So stay tuned, keep an eye open, and you can definitely hear more as this story develops right here on Good Morning Comrade. Robert?
That's, if you're not boycotting Starbucks by now, I don't know what to tell you. That's an easy one to duck. Like, there's nothing good that comes out of there. Oh, and then this is not related to BDS, but I will say that there is no ask by Starbucks work. If you want to like boycott for other reasons for Starbucks, then go for it. But that's not an ask for this particular campaign. Sure. That's just me personally.
Yeah, no, totally.
I'm not going in there regardless.
Yeah.
For numerous reasons. That place has never been right. But this is a good tip, and I found this. I did this last year because so it does totally work. If you I know a lot of us are going to get Starbucks gift cards, like at office holiday parties or whatever. If you get a Starbucks gift card, just go. Don't keep it and be like, I'm not going to use it, because that's free money for them. that they don't have to provide a service for. That's just goes right. That's straight profit. So what you do is you go to whatchamacallit, because you can tip on a card, right? So I did this last year. You take your $20 Starbucks gift card that you got at the holiday party. You go in there, buy the cheapest thing you possibly get. It's like a stick of shrink cheese for like $1 or $1.60, something like that. You buy that,
a bottle of water, maybe,
and whatever's the cheapest thing in there with that gift card, and then you leave the rest as a tip. That's how you deal with that.
Okay, that's a pretty.
And I was like, that is genius, and I did that, and I was like, yeah. So that's how you can use your Starbucks card, because you definitely
you're min-maxing right
absolutely. If you want to have a to
the boss, and you're maxing it to the workers.
No, absolutely. So if you again, if you're like, oh, BDS, I'm not going to Starbucks, and you get a Starbucks card, don't sit on it, because that's pure profit. That's what they want you to do. That's the whole purpose of a gift card, because they know
don't use it.
The bean counters know that a certain percentage of the population will never use that card. So the only thing they're out is just the printing price on millions of gift cards that they get at a bulk rate. That's their only overhead there. So that's pure profit.
Yeah, good advice from
I'm good for something.
One and only Robert. Man, you're good for plenty. We love you here. We love you around here, brother. But yeah, just kind of like winding us down. We have about 6 minutes left. We see, just wanted to underscore really that we see, with the Luigi Mangione, with the response to, regardless of what he did, and how you feel about it or whatever, the response that has been around that, specifically around the anti United Healthcare sentiment, really shows, where actual real life people are at. And then you also see the support that Teamsters workers and Starbucks workers have behind them. I mean, I when things seem bleak, I take a lot of these kind of actions and moving forward and these things as very positive signs, despite what the actual politics of the country are, which are just dreadful. I mean, we just saw this week that the Democrats won't even let AOC have a position as like ranking member of the oversight committee. They gotta like have their old heads like put the scooters down on that. You know what I mean? Like don't watch the politics, watch the union stuff.
No, 100%. And like just to briefly touch on the AOC thing. So if you want to go into that, because you're like the procedural guy, if you want to do it quickly, but like hopefully this is the last time. Hopefully this is the last time for whatever the outcome is. Maybe the Democratic Party dies. Maybe nobody like wants to mess with it. Nobody wants to be, try to elevate themselves and spend all their time and effort to get into a place that they're not wanted and they're actively fought against tooth and nail just to provide for their constituents. But hopefully this is the last time that somebody that we, the electorate, and also people who are idealistic and want to get into power. Something I once wanted to run for public office. Hopefully I don't want to be like, AOC, you get what you get after we just had this long thing about, workers and whatnot. I don't want to be like that. I want to be like, hopefully, because she's so prominent, she's the last one of us to get screwed over. And everybody else will see from now on, nope, this outside inside game, there is no such thing. That was another lie told to you to, take away your power, to ice you, to back pocket you. Well, you gotta work the levers on the inside. She did all that. She did everything Mama Bear asked.
Well, she shouldn't have done the things Mama Bear asked, is sort of like what I'm getting at. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Like I don't, there's I think maybe we have a different definition of what an inside game is or whatever. Like, I think that the inside game that AOC has been playing has been to be like way too friendly with the establishment of the Democrats. And, they sort of like told her the sweet whispers in her ear, like, you're doing great, Sweaty, keep on doing this. And then when she was like, okay, I'm the most popular person in Congress, I'm going to run for this one ranking member of this, important committee. They like rolled out a 75-year-old, guy with esophageal cancer. And they're like,
he's a young 75, guys.
Oh, he's a young 75 with esophageal
That's what
cancer.
They said. He's a young 75.
Yeah.
That's worked out well for us.
But like that tells me that, like, I'm not even saying that there were mistakes made or whatever, because you don't know the information going in necessarily, but it tells you, at least at this point, that there has to be a more combative approach that you take going forward. I'm not going like, you got to force the vote for Nancy Pelosi's leadership or whatever, but like, you have to realize that there is a, like, this is not a game. This is a fight.
Mm-hmm. No, we're saying the same thing. We're reaching the same conclusion. You
maybe using different language.
You use the language of a union organizer. I use the language of a guy standing on a soapbox, dirty, dirty outside the Vietnam Memorial or something. Like I'm the guy. I am now morphed into the guy. I just have a bigger platform than the guy who's on Canal Street in New Orleans,
screaming into the microphone or whatever.
The funny thing about that guy, and like he had like a health scare, and like God bless him, like
he's all right.
Yeah, he's all right. But the thing about that guy, during COVID, when I would walk around downtown, I'd have my mask on or whatever, he was still out there. I'm like, this guy must be feeling himself right now.
Yeah.
I was like, you almost want to be like, hey, bro.
He had a moment.
The sunshine on the dog.
Like, we got real close. That time.
Yeah. Like, hell yeah, bro. You were onto something. So, I'm that guy now.
I'm just heading down a really good road. Man.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just to go back to Luigi. It's like we're sitting here watching children blown to bits in Gaza. We're sitting here watching children blown to bits, and we just had a school shooting yesterday, and they want to tell us that violence isn't acceptable in this country. We accept violence every minute, every hour of every day. We've accepted violence since 1776. We've accepted violence since both sides of my ancestry. The Irish got here as indentured servants, and they were treated like absolute garbage. And then, and during the Middle Passage, we've always accepted violence in this country. And now you want me to cry over this? No.
No.
I'm not doing none of that. I did.
All right. Well, last words before we get out we're going to be recording a little bit ahead of time for the holidays as well. Mm-hmm. Just a heads up, we got a interview with Gabriella Biro, who just won her election for Orleans Parish School Board. I had a little conversation with her. That's in the can. Keep an eye out for that coming out in the next couple of weeks or so. But we're going to be kind of going in a little bit of a time work as the Christmas and New Year's holidays both fall on our usual recording days. So be prepared. I think we're going to be able to have fresh content. Maybe we'll have a rerun here or there, but just keep watch the space, watch how things go. And Robert, where can people find you?
See on TikTok at Robert Johnson, or Good Morning Comrade on TikTok. Mm-hmm. Facebook, Good Morning Comrade. Where else are we? Twitch every now and then. Blue Sky, you be hitting that Blue Sky. I'm on Blue Sky too, as Good Morning Comrade, but I don't really go on there, to be honest. But you can hit me up. I will definitely talk to you when I'm bored at my normal job. But good times.
All right. Well, find me on Twitter at Eminent Prof, Bluesky, all the stuff, Eminent Prof, and Good Morning Comrade, all the stuff as well. And like you said, TikTok. I've been releasing a lot of clips from the show on TikTok on the GM Comrade tip.
We need to start going live on TikTok. I would have done it. Let's do it next week. I've got so much going on. I'm trying to get together.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. This is Good Morning Comrade on 102.3 WHIV LP New Orleans. We love you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Hold up.